Hello and welcome everyone, it is me, the Lover, also known as Support to Duel, is back for you in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel with a couple replays from the new Tryout Duel event, the 2004 OCG event, the kind of OCG GOAT event. As you can see, me piloting here the first GOAT deck I ever built, funnily enough, or something closer to it, Armed Dragons, because in the GOAT format card pool, Masked Dragon is legal, and you can actually do like this silly Chaz Princeton anime play of like Masked Dragon floating into an Armed Dragon level 3 and then just leveling up into the 5. Did open quite well here. Finding a way to Armed Dragon level 3 with a couple back rows to set you up is always a very good start, as I run into Mirror Wall, protecting a Masked Sorcerer here with my Armed Dragon level 5. I do have a Saku for the Skilled Dark Magician that my opponent is trying to stick here, and I think the Skilled Dark Magician and that profile image are very quickly giving away what my opponent is attempting to do. Do decide to level 5, clear the Masked Sorcerer here by discarding that one level 7 that I am actually running. You could probably shave this if you want to optimize Armed Dragons as like a GOAT format deck, probably a bit. But it's not really, you know, that crazy anyways. We see Dark Magic Curtain come down for the Dark Magician himself. Dark Magic Attack tries to wipe the one Book of Moon, which instantly answers the Dark Magician here. But yeah, overall, it's been a very fun event, honestly. It's been kind of cool, kind of tinkering with a lot of these old cards. Diving into a lot of these older strategies. By the way, that back row is a huge bait. Initially I was like, okay, this is limited. Yeah, surely Ring of Destruction at that point in time is crazy. Completely forgetting that this is the errata Ring of Destruction, which is the problem I think a lot of cards have. But the main benefit to this format, I think, compared to regular GOAT, because I'm not too huge on regular GOAT, is you don't have like as many huge power spells that are like insane tempo swings. I believe this format specifically does not have Graceful Charity as well as Delinquent Duo. So out of like the power 3 that are like this huge trinity in GOAT format on the TCG side, you only have Pot of Greed in this event, which was fairly manageable, especially with like, you know, modern deck building conceptions. And playing, you know, 3 Solemn Judgment main, it's not that tough to deal with that stuff. I do Nobleman here, a face down monster, and before, you know, I commit anything more, the Tribe Infecting Virus declaring Spellcasters does come down. Armed Dragon level 5 gets to clear the Mystical Elf here, and Tribe Infecting Virus nets me the game. I do have a couple more replays, so, you know, this won't end just right here. And looking at the time, I might even have the time to fit all of those in here. We are loaded up and ready for another game. This time I am once again going fast. Luster Dragon, in hindsight, maybe wasn't like the greatest inclusion. I do believe you can probably cut that down a bit more. I might include like a deck list or two at the end, or like some rough ideas what I was cooking. But what my opponent is cooking is my death, apparently. But, you know, Dust Tornado does put a great big stop to that if, you know, that is purely based on a Megamorph. Activated here. And that creature swap in my hand is looking rather tasty. Opponent goes for the Monster Gate, doesn't want me getting back that Luster Dragon, understandable. Milling a whole bunch of, you know, silly cards that probably give away that this is just, you know, a silly Cyberstein OTK deck. Summon a big fusion, stick an equip spell, and then just hopefully be able to, you know, game shot your opponent. A setting 2, which, realistically, I don't want to commit, like, a big amount of, like, cards into that. Could have definitely, you know, gone creature swap here, which would have been a perfectly fine play to get rid of the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. But in the 2 back row, I don't feel too good about it. And that's where, you know, a Demork comes down, which, you know, we can't let that resolve. So we do hit that with a Solemn Judgment. The Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon will swing over Masked Dragon, and here is where, you know, that silly anime play comes in. We do float into Armed Dragon level 3, which in our standby phase will level up into level 5. And realistically speaking, Armed Dragon level 5, for like the purposes of this format, isn't even like a completely horrendous card. Does contest Monarchs in combat with the 2400 stat line, and has like a decent removal effect realistically. That can get rid of some big threats. So yeah, kind of neat, but I do creature swap it away for the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon that my opponent has cheated out, setting a Magician of Faith main phase 2, because my opponent's currently still locked under Reckless Greed. Quickly forgot the name of that card though. Magician of Fate about to recycle the Stamping Destruction here, which, if that resolved, you know, that is a very quick and easy way to game. To get that back after my opponent torrentials his own ultimate and my Magician of Faith off the board here. Setting 2, feeling kind of good. We get into this like awkward stare-off, you know, where we both are just mainly looking for a normal summon. I do find a lot of good defensive cards, so I am not too worried about anything. Opponent sets another card here, and any dragon does it at this point, and there is probably the best one. Master Dragon hits the board, Stamping Destruction, targets a set card, which is a Legacy of Yatagarasu. Can draw him a card, but won't solve the problem that he is taking 500 at the end of this. Stamping Destruction, by the way, a hugely, very cool tool for this deck specifically, because you are running a bunch of dragons. You do get to utilize this in a format where back row removal is at a premium, so that is incredibly nice. But let's move into another game before I ramble on too long about this. I can't believe we're actually getting all of these replays in, but these are going rather quickly, because even if it's like, you know, a lot of turns, there's only so many actions, you know. It might be replays that are like 11 turns long, but realistically, these have like as many actions as like a 2 to 3 turn modern game. Breaker the Magical Warrior, incredible normal summon. Just remember that, you know, normal summoning Breaker, a kind of modular either 1900 beat stick or an MST that is still a 1600 monster. Incredible card. Opponent seems to be on the Fusion Loner deck, if I'm not completely mistaken, going for Thunder Dragon, adding 2 more copies to not make Colossus, but a twin-headed Thunder Dragon. A 2800 beat stick, pretty nice, but not in the face of a simple battle trap. With the set Breaker the Magic Warrior not really posing a real threat, there's once again the savior of this deck. Master Dragon gets normal summon, Stamping Destruction, taking care of that source of Revealing Light, and in combat, Master Dragon is able to beat over Breaker, and opponent is left on like very low cards. Which is, you know, also like a cool thing. You can do like a lot with card advantage. Initially, I was planning on like rolling up with the Gadget Loner deck in this, because that also looks like very, very cool. And I'm a huge fan of like the OG gadgets, because it's just like, you know, this continuous conga line of idiots, as MBT likes to say. So yeah, that's kind of great, because you can just play like a very simple grind game with, you know, good stuff traps. While you're just keeping the pressure up by just having consistent normal summons. A Pot of Greed, I do decide to solemn that. I was in a call with a friend and kind of, you know, asking around, but I feel like that's pretty good, you know. We don't have Ash Blossom for that, but solemn judgmenting a Pot of Greed is, I think, pretty fine. Do find my way to a Luster Dragon here, decide to Dust Tornado the Source Revealing Light, because I feel like we can make a big push here. Kind of not doing the math right here, because I do just kind of give him a couple taps on the wrist, leaving my opponent on 1400 life points. But it's not looking too pretty. Premature Burial does bring back the Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon here, which is a fairly big and scary monster, running over the Luster Dragon, but any form of removal does it, which, you know, we might top deck into that. Oh, would you look at that? It's Creature Swap. Crazy card in this format, by the way. Absolutely loving it. Giving my opponent a floater for a big monster, running over that, and potentially getting the value. But here, it is just game. Incredible. But yeah, I've really enjoyed running this, you know, this Armed Dragon deck again, because it's very cool and also like a bit nostalgic. So yeah, I do have like a slightly funnier one, not with this deck, but we'll take a look at that next. And with that we're in, and if you might want to take a look at my opening hand, that is looking very weird indeed. Drawing into a copy of Pinch Hopper here, normal summoning a Howling Insect, because I do not want this to get Nobleman cross-outed, and realistically I am not taking that much damage. Opponent sticks a Kaiser Colosseum, a Wave Motion Cannon, and 3 back rows. Rather scary opener usually, but that's getting punished in a very funny way, because as you can see, I just drew into Insect Imitation, which was like, I guess, the main inspiration to kind of roll up with, you know, a couple insects in the deck. Because Insect Imitation is actually a very interesting and cool card for, you know, the time being. Decide to MST that Zoma the Spirit off the board here. And Insect Imitation, one of the Ojama tokens, into a Swarm of Locusts. Repeatable spell and trap removal, ladies and gentlemen. And neither. Incredible card. Funny that I get to pull this off Insect Imitation here against, you know, burn / stun over here. Very funny sticking just a bunch of guys to potentially get in, but that Wall of Illusion will not compulse my Swarm of Locusts back to the hand, which gives me a very, very quick scoop out of my opponent. This was mainly just because I thought it was funny. I threw this insect deck together in like a couple minutes. It's not great, so I won't bore you with the details. But let's maybe take a look at the Armed Dragon deck list. And with that, we are, I guess, at the main event. This is roughly what the Armed Dragon list that I piloted looks like. You're basically just playing like a bunch of floaters that get you to Armed Dragon level 3, and namely I am running Flying Kamakiri 1. You can technically play UFO Turtle, because this does get you to Masked Dragon, but I do like having more immediate access to like an Armed Dragon level 3. And the nice part about Flying Kamakiri, because it floats into winds, is that you can also get access to Twin-Headed Behemoth, which is another very nice card for the format, because it's just like a guy that resummons itself if it gets destroyed and sent to grave. Otherwise, yeah, 2 Magician of Faith for some, you know, recycling of those powerful spell cards. I did not craft a Pot of Greed for this event, but realistically, you could probably maybe shave like the level up potentially, or like one of the bigger guys to you know, fit that in. Not much trouble there. 3 level 3s, 3 Masked Dragons, easy inclusions, as well as the Flying Kamakiris. The 1 Breaker, because it's good. Tribe Infecting Virus also did come in handy more than once, I'd say. 3 level 5s, actually a good card. 1, you know, Mobius, just to have more back row hate. 2 Noblemans that you can play the 2 creature swaps, 2 Stamping Destruction for some additional back row hate. 1 level up just because it's, you know, in theme and funny. 3 Book of Moon, also very good defensive card. And then just running out the deck are 2 Dustornado, a Torrential Tribute, 3 Sakuretsu Armor, 3 Solemn Judgment, and a Call of the Haunted. The Sakus could potentially also just be like compulsory evacuation device if you want like a bit more utility. But I think Saku is like perfectly serviceable for a format like this. So yeah, I unironically could see myself doing like maybe another video on this. Maybe leave me, you know, some comments down below if you would like to see that, because I'm really enjoying it. Maybe play some, you know, more classic gold decks for that instead of, you know, the usual jank you are used to from me by now. But with all that out of the way, I will thank you guys very much for watching, and I will be seeing you guys again next time. But until then, goodbye.